Okay, so we're going to call this part 3 of our practice test. So again, this has to do with our rational number operations for chapter 2. And I just got a phone call, and we had to do a quick pause, so ended up stopping my video by accident. If we go back to number 11 here, it says a negative $3.20. If you remember back in the problem, Mrs. Williamson is short. It means not her height, it means that she's missing some money. So we might go back and just add some word form to this. We might say Mrs. Williamson owes $3.20 more, or we'll need to budget $3.20 more, or she's $3.20 short. Let's fast forward here to number 12. A sporting goods store is offering a 6% discount on the sale of football jerseys. The price of each football jersey is $39.90 before the discount. How much will Jason be charged if Jason buys 5 football jerseys? Well, first I really want to think about a total bill. I want 5 football jerseys. So what I probably would do here is say 5 groups of $39.90, or 5 times $39.90. But in a minute, there's going to be a discount. I get to take off 6% of, and we talked about that today, 6% of an item, or 6% of the total. So I get to take away 6% of, and I'm just going to write the word total in here for a minute. I'll be able to plug that in a second if I want to. Well, I can start simplifying this if I want. I could really figure out what 5 times all of this will get me. So maybe I will do that work off to the side here. And I know I've been running out of space lately, so let's try it this way. This is number 12 from our practice test. I need 5 groups of $39.90, and I want to take away 6% times the total in a minute, the total bill. So I might take $39.90 and multiply by 5. I can think of some maybe mental math skills that might help me here. I could even say 5 times $40, and then I could say 5 groups of 10 cents subtracted from that. But we'll just go ahead and use the algorithm real quickly. 5 times 0 is 5. 5 times 9 is 45. We'll regroup the 4. 5 times 9 is 45, plus 4 more is 49. And 5 times 3 is 15, plus 4 more makes 19. Well, these would be very expensive jerseys. Hopefully they're signed or something. Or maybe there's a decimal issue here. Let's remember that we build a decimal bank. We're really saying how many times did they divide by 10 in this original problem. So in the first number, they divided by 10 twice. There are 2 jumps, or 2 spaces, or place values behind the decimal. For this next one, 5 is actually a whole number. So they didn't have to jump any places. They didn't really divide that by 10. It was already a whole number. A total number of jumps of 2, meaning I divide by 10 twice. It's also the same as dividing by 100. All right, my jerseys would cost $199.50. But remember, I get a discount. I get the 6% off the total. Well, what is the total? The total is actually what I just figured. It's the $199.50. So I can plug that in here. I can take out that word total and replace it. I'm just using a skill called substitution. Well, this percent, we talked about this a lot today. I really want to do a rewrite step. I want to turn that 6% into something more meaningful. So doesn't that mean 6 out of 100? Oh yeah, percent is always out of 100. And I want to take that times this $199.50 in a minute. And I'm still taking all that discount away from the original price. Alright, so what could we do here? Well, I don't know if this is super helpful. I have this fraction hidden between the decimals. So could I rewrite this as a decimal maybe? I think so. Wouldn't 6 hundredths be the same as 6 in the hundredths place? Oh, there we go. This would work. And bring everything else down. I'm trying to keep this pizza method, or this line-by-line organization going. So to do this, I really want to take 6 times this entire amount and make sure that I move that decimal in. I'm dividing by 10, 100, and then 10 and 100 again. I'm dividing by 4 different groups of 10. We want to show that off to the side here maybe. So I really ignore my decimals when I'm multiplying initially, and then I just think about the decimal bank when I'm done. 6 times 0 is 0, 6 times 5 is 30. We'll regroup that 3. 6 times 9 is 54, plus 3 more is 57. 6 times 9 is still 54, but I'm adding 5 more. 54 plus 5, 59. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 5 more makes 11. I want to move this decimal in, and I need to think about the bank. And be careful, it's really tricky when you see these decimals aligned to think that you should bring it down, but that would really not be a good idea in this case, because again, we use different rules for multiplication as we do from addition or subtraction. So how many decimal places should I save for the first number? 2, or I divided by 100. How many decimal places should I save for the next number? 2, because I really divided by 10 and 10 again, or divided by 100. How many total tens did I divide by? Or how many total jumps should I take in my answer? The answer is 4. Starting at the back of the number, 10, 10, 10, 10. We really divided by 10,000 here. We divided by 10 once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. This is your new improved decimal. Now this would be a great discount if this is exactly what I got to pay for the jerseys, but that's not what it's saying, is it? What did we just figure out? This is my savings. This is how much I need to take off the total. So I'll go back to my original problem and I'll just plug this in, and I'm going to take away $11.97. This one works out kind of nicely. You might want to keep in mind that if there were more digits back here, sometimes we have to do some rounding when that's involved. So 5 or more, raise the score, 4 or less, let it rest. But this one worked out nicely. Oh, decimal subtraction. I can do that. I could even change the minus to a plus to change the sign of next, but then I'm just going to have to use different signs subtract. So the last thing I need to try over here is stacking up my decimals for some subtraction. And we'll do a little bit of regrouping, maybe to show our steps really quickly. 10 take away 7 is 3. 14 take away 9 is 5. We'll remember to bring our decimal down because we're using subtraction rules. And 8 take away 1 gets me 7. 9 take away 1 gets me 8. And 1 take away nothing. You can put a placeholder out here if you want. We get you 1. Looks like I'm going to get a $187.53. $187.53. I know that we're talking about money here. I just want to go back and make sure that I answered the question. How much will Jason be charged if Jason buys 5 football jerseys? Notice it's kind of important here that you decide to find your total first before figuring out a sales tax, because when you do it separately or do it in a different order, sometimes it ends up throwing your rounding off by a few pennies or cents. In this case, we worked out okay, I think, with our 6% discount. But you just want to be a little bit careful that you figure out a total bill first. So the total bill, then take off your discount. So it looks like I can answer $187.53. $187.53 is the cost of Jason's 5 jerseys. They're football jerseys. We could have written that. We could add more context if we want to, but that's the general idea. All right, number 13. I think this might be our last one. It says Emily participates in a trivia quiz show. In each round, 20 points are awarded for a correct answer and 10 points are deducted for an incorrect answer. Ooh, 20 points are awarded, so that's a positive. And 10 points are deducted. That's a negative. Part A, Emily answered 7 questions correctly and 8 incorrectly in the first round. What is her score at the end of the first round? 7 questions correct. Oh, well, that's 7 groups of those 20 points, isn't it? Those positive 20. And then it says that she answered 8 incorrectly. 8 groups of negative 10. She loses 10 points every time she gets a wrong answer. And aren't I trying to find her total score? Her score would really be an addition of these two. So let's see what we get. Well, this is the same as 140 plus a negative 160. I notice I'm taking more away than what she has. Looks like I'm going to have to apply different signs subtract. And I notice that there's a difference of 20. Would it be positive or negative? Notice there are more negatives, or the negative is the farther number. Looks like we have negative 20. Her score for the first round, negative 20 points. Let's take a look at this next one, part B. Emily answered 4 questions correctly and 11 incorrectly in the second round. What was her score for the second round? So we could say 4 questions are correct. That's 4 groups of 20 points. And we're going to combine that with 11 incorrect answers, so 11 groups of a negative 10 points. And the real question here, and sometimes this is an argument or at least up for debate in my classroom, students oftentimes want to include that original amount, but this says it's a new round, a second round, so I think we're just going to go from this and see what happens. If you decided to combine it with the negative 20 from earlier, we could deal with that. I probably wouldn't count it wrong as long as I can follow your steps, but I believe that they mean a new round, a second round. 4 times 20 is actually 80, and 11 groups of negative 10 is actually a negative 110. And I'm combining these. Here we go again with that different sign subtract. Well, I know 80 is 20 away from 100, so it must be 30 away from 110. 30. But would this be positive or negative? I'll keep the sign of the farther number. Negative 30 points for round 2. Emily, you're having a hard time in this game. Part C. If the final score is the average of the points for both rounds, find Emily's final score. Well, I talked to students about this a little bit in the classroom, so if I have 2 assignments that I turn in, one is an A, one is a C, what's your average grade? When you average an A and a C, you'll get a B, right? You're finding the middle of them. So to find the middle of 2 numbers, we can also treat them like mean, median, and mode, and range, those statistical terms that you learned in the elementary. I can combine my negative 20 and my negative 30 points, and I can divide them by 2. I can find the middle of any 2 numbers by taking their sum and dividing by 2. This is how we find average. So let's see here. If I were to simplify that, looks like I'll get a negative 50 over 2. And, well, I can actually do this division. Doesn't this really mean negative 50 divided by 2? Oh, half of negative 50. Oh, half of 50 is 25. But this is a negative divided by a positive. This is disagreement, right? So sometimes we write disagree, or we draw that grumpy face. Looks like we're going to get a negative 25. So what are we answering here? Negative 25 what? Find Emily's final score. Oh, negative 25 points. Maybe I add Emily's final score is negative 25 points. Or we could talk about when you average her round A with round B, or round 1 and round 2, you end up finding negative 25 points as our final score. Okay? That concludes our practice test for 7th grade. Getting ready with some rational number operations, and you are actually testing on Thursday this week. Let's see, that will be November 30th. It's also the day your Howell paperwork and payment are due. So keep on studying, come see me with questions, and again, plan on test for Thursday. This originally said Wednesday because we didn't know Mr. Johnson was doing the switcheroo with schedules. Thursday it is, okay?